Hey everybody, it's Mike with Shaq and LT Wright Knives. We are currently at the Georgia Bushcraft Fall Gathering, and I have a very special guest for this episode of the Campfire Conversation, sitting next to Mr. Craig Caudill in front of a fire that our good friend Spen is building for us, and we are ready to have a little bit of a conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Craig Caudill of the Kentucky Caudills and Nature Reliance School.
Hey, it's good to be here, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here. And man, Spen does have a good fire.
Yes.
For those listening in, Spen is a master at building tiny fires to keep one person warm.
And we have a bit of a live audience here, so you may hear some voices in the background, and we encourage the people that are watching to join in the conversation as much as they want to. First, we are going to have Craig tell us a little bit about himself and where he is and where you can find him on the internet.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it's good. Again, it's good to be here, Mike. I'm the director of Nature Reliance School out of Central Kentucky. My website is naturereliance.org, and all the socials are under @Nature Reliance. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the places, and now TikTok.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That started this week. So yeah,
you can be one of his nearly 3 million followers on the social media.
Not yet. We're getting close though. Jennifer's my wife. For those that are listening, she's the one that handles our social media. I'm the guy on camera that looks cool. She's the one that makes me look cool.
So keep in mind when you message the Nature Reliance School, you will be talking to Jennifer. So
yes, you will be.
Keep the comments clean and polite, please.
So yeah, she's in the last 6 months especially, she's been working in a very dedicated way to build our social media. We're up to 970,000 today on Facebook, 222,000 on Instagram, 170,000 on YouTube, and I think 500 on TikTok right now.
That's impressive. Good job, Jennifer.
Yes.
I know you don't get nearly as much credit as you should, but
Yes.
you're doing an excellent job.
Thanks for saying that, Mike. Yeah.
So, Craig, Nature Reliance School, what is it that people can learn there? What do you like to teach there? Give us a little more background on the institute itself.
No problem. I love talking about Nature Reliance School. Nature Reliance School was started in 2006 by myself. At that time, I was teaching martial arts and hand-to-hand combatives as for a living. And I had students that were mine in the martial arts training that were interested in outdoor training. So I started teaching them some things, I guess you would say on the side, you know? Mm-hmm. And it kind of grew and grew and grew. And I had an injury from martial arts training that a doctor said I'm going to have to quit doing what I'm doing, or he's going to cut my left arm off. So I quit doing what I was doing, and very fortunate that at that time, Nature Reliance School had built up to the point where I could make a living doing it as well. But our focus is wilderness skills. In most 75-80% of our classes are wilderness skills based, survival at 3 or 4 different levels. We've got land navigation, map and compass, GPS skills, as well as tracking. And when I say tracking, I'm talking about man tracking and animal tracking, bushcrafting, as well as we do some medical coursework. We do some ham radio stuff, a little hodgepodge stuff, basically trying to get people more self-reliant and enjoying in the outdoors. And your question was, what's my favorite or some variation of it? If I could teach tracking every day, I would teach tracking every day of my life.
You are a quote-unquote tracking nerd.
I am a nerd. That is true. I love tracking. I think it humbles me. I know it humbles me, and I've learned a lot about life and all the things that go along with just living in the world through tracking. So it's been a really good gift for me.
And in addition to your in-person classes in Kentucky, you also travel to some other places to teach
we do.
classes.
Yeah, so we go to events like this, Georgia Bushcraft Fall Gathering. I try to do 2 of those a year, usually one in the spring, one in the fall. And I've found a nice home here at Georgia, so I try to come down here once a year, and I try to go somewhere else the other time. That's my goal. We might do more than that, 2026, but and then we have different state programs we go, depending upon who we're training. So there's been some military contracts where we go to different places to teach tactical man tracking to 101st Airborne, 5th Special Forces Group. We've done some work in the Naval Special Warfare community. We don't do that often, but it's something that we travel quite a bit for when we do that stuff. And then, we do some out-of-state stuff for Nature Reliance School. We haven't done a lot of that lately because everybody's coming to us.
Always nice to sleep in your own bed.
It is nice to be in a familiar area and not have to travel and unpack everything and set it up and teach class and then pack it all back up and go home. So that has been nice, that we are at the stage of Nature Reliance School where people are literally coming at least all over the country. We've got people from different countries outside of the U.S. that have been coming to our training as well. So that's been I'm very pleased that we've had that reach.
And in addition to your in-person classes and some of those traveling classes you do, you have a very elaborate and detailed online program. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's one of the hidden gems of Nature Reliance School. I have an online school called the Nature Reliance School Online Membership. We've got courses in a lot of different things there. We have a course called Vital Survival, which I was contracted to do. Well, I used to be in an organization called the National Disaster Resilience Council, which is a think tank of all the alphabet soup folks for the federal government here in the U.S. I was a family and personal resilience subject matter expert in that group. And so my role in that group for the federal government was to put together training, to put together resources for families to develop themselves to be prepared for specifically EMP attacks, but basically anything in general.
Okay.
And so that's how some of that got started. But we've built it out now. We have courses on not just the vital survival for disaster readiness, but we have bushcraft coursework where we teach you tree identification for bushcraft, which is what I taught here at Georgia Bushcraft this morning. We have tracking courses there. We have land nav videos. I've got a section in there called Conversations with Craig where I record different topics once a month and put them in there. We have webinar interviews with subject matter experts from all sorts of different fields. Then, because I had done this once before with another company that was basically paying me to make videos, I have over 200 hours of what I call Craig's Classics, which they paid me for years ago, but there's things ranging from how to get in a canoe after you fall out, and I videoed it, and how to shoot flintlock rifles and the stuff goes like that, all kinds of weird subjects that were a collective, because I was doing 2 hours of video for them every week for a couple of years. So all of that's in there. And the other big thing that I do with the membership is like my collaboration with you all, where we have knives that are designed by LT Wright Knives. I have courses that go with the knife, which I think is a thing that we do that kind of separates us out. When you buy a knife from us, actually if you buy any knife, even if you get it from River's Edge Cutlery or something of that nature, you have a card in your box from us that gives you access to a free course to go along with the knife that shows how to sharpen it, how to maintain it, how to use it to gut deer, how to use it to cut salmon at the house for dinner, all the things that you need to do to make sure your knife is being used safely, efficiently, properly, and maintained well.
Excellent.
To go along with that, I have courses for most of my books, and that's kind of my focus for 2026. I'm going to have a course for every book that I've written. I've written 8 books and or field guides. So I have an online course where you can follow along with different lessons for each chapter.
All right, we're going to put you on the spot now.
Okay, cool.
I need all 8 titles of these books.
Okay, so the first book I wrote was Extreme Wilderness Survival. That book is now out of print, so if you find it, it's like $80 or $90 at this point, although the Kindle version is still available. My second book was Ultimate Wilderness Gear. That is a gear-heavy book. It's the biggest book I've ever written. It's also the least selling book I've ever written, but probably the best as far as it's an encyclopedic amount of knowledge, and the research that went into it was incredible. But people just thought it was a buyer's guide, so they avoided it, so that was a problem. The third one is Essential Wilderness Navigation, which is a navigation book on map, compass, GPS, natural navigation, which is another topic I taught here this weekend, how to read trees and puddles and insects and birds to tell you direction and all.
The bark is very informative if you run your hands over it.
It is very informative. It really is. I did that today. Did somebody come to say something to you?
No, but I have been through.
Okay, yeah, I've asked them
programs
to do that today, and they were like, oh man, I've never touched a tree and learned direction.
Yeah.
So Essential Wilderness Navigation. I wrote the Tiny Survival Guide, which was a collaboration between me and Ultimate Survival Tips, David Paczynski. I have a book that's inside of the membership called the Vital Survival Guide, which is a book that the only way to access is to be a member of the online member. It's close to the biggest book. Ultimate Wilderness Skier is the biggest book. I wrote a small tracking guide that I did in collaboration with Creek Stewart. It's an introduction to animal tracking. And my latest book is Traditional Bushcraft. And so that's all those titles.
Okay, and all those are obviously at the usual places that you find books?
All of them are any places you can buy books, except Extreme Wilderness Survival now is out of print. And then again, the Vital Survival book is only available to online members. And it is literally a 200-page book on disaster readiness.
That's awesome.
And all the things that go with it.
Now, having been through some of your classes, I know that you are a very unique instructor in that you like to push the students out of their comfort zones. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah. So I had a really good instructor of mine. His name is Cornelius Nash. He was a graduate of West Point. He was a major in the Army. He did some, I forget what the term is, but basically task force stuff with Special Forces. He was an intelligence analyst. And we did some man tracking training together. I studied underneath of him and then showed a certain amount of skill. So I started teaching some coursework with them. And one of the things that he impressed upon me real early on was, Craig, you are an educator. You're not running the Q course for the Army Special Forces. So your job is to push people to build their mindset, but you don't want to make them do incredibly hard, difficult physical challenges for the sake of doing the physical challenge. If it's part of the training, like, I don't tell too many secrets about what we do in class because I like for people to experience them, but like in a wilderness safety level 1 class, one of the things that you have to do is we'll put somebody down on the tarp and you got to create a litter out of basically nothing. And then you carry them, and you always have to carry them much, much farther than you want to carry them. And if you drop them, you fail and you have to leave. And so what we found is that and that's a teamwork thing, right?
Yes.
Because in my opinion, well, it's not my opinion. Let me rephrase that. From my research, which is backed by a lot of data, because I have a degree in statistics and I love data. And because of that, when I wrote particularly my first book, I collected stories on how people died or experienced tragedy in the outdoors. And because of that, I have a lot of data on how people have had bad things happen. And one of the things came out of that was a lot of the problems are how people communicate ineffectively, and that caused problems. So I put people in positions to work with other people. Sometimes they're people they know, sometimes they're people they don't know, and that creates an environment where people can increase their skill set in communications and working with others. If they do that and then they take that skill set home, then they're better off at home working with whoever it is they're with at home.
Okay. And with a lot of your classes and a lot of the videos and stuff that you do online, you stress the importance of slowing the mind down, slowing the body down. You want to talk about that just a little bit?
Mindset. So there's a lot that goes into mindset, but the core foundation of what I teach and everything that I teach is what I call the 4 puzzle pieces of self-reliance and survival. Mindset, skills, teamwork, and gear. When I did all that research, what I discovered, surprisingly, quite frankly, that, well, this part isn't surprising, that skills, which is fire building, shelter building, tying knots, using a water filter to filter water, those are skills. And gear are important. They're incredibly important. We got to have a good knife. We've got to have good packs, stuff that we can rely on. But the 2 things that jumped out at me were a lot of people died because they had poor mindset, which can be a lot of things. They have a lack of awareness. They have so much ego that they put themselves in positions they should never be in. Things of that nature that are mindset development. And then the other piece that was incredibly surprising to me was how much teamwork problems happen, meaning more often than not, it was a lack of communication skills. I like to say, you need to know when to be a leader, and you also need to know when to be a follower. There's a time for both, and if you're not leading, you need to be the best follower that you can possibly be. And so to go along with that is that, those 4 puzzle pieces start off with mindset. So if you're kicking off your mindset and it's problematic, it's going to lead you down a path where you have what I refer to as diminished thinking. And when you have diminished thinking, you don't make good, clear decisions. You put yourself in a worse position.
Sorry to interrupt. I've been seeing y'all guys out here congregating every night. I want to let y'all know, right over here where the Comfort Farms, after they conclude on it, about 30 minutes after, we're going to do a flag retirement ceremony for 2 American flags.
Thank you for that invite.
Be there.
Yes, thank you.
That's awesome.
It's no pressure. If you don't want to, it's fine.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
just want to let you know what's going on. So.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that. And that is Georgia Bushcraft, you all. There's some really good people all around us doing really good things. If you couldn't hear what he was saying in the background, they're having a flag retirement ceremony here, and we've been invited to that. That's the kind of stuff that happens at these events, which I love. But to get back to the mindset, that is what I discovered is the root of all the other 3. If you have the right mindset, you can do your skills well, you can teamwork well, and you can use your gear properly. And so that is where I've invested a lot of time and energy. In my first book, I wrote 5 chapters on mindset development, which nobody has done in the survival community. People just give lip service to it, but they don't actually do it. And I also put an email out every Monday on what I call Mindset Monday, which is mindset development. And I've been doing that for years at this point. So yeah, mindset's pretty cool and important to me.
I would definitely agree with that. And I know from my years as being an athlete, there were a lot of times that your body would want to give up and your mind would force it to give up just because you could. But if you could get your mind to push past that, your body would keep going long after it wanted to.
You're 100% Mike, 100% right. And it's if you never push yourself to get to that level, then it's difficult when you get there to get past that level. Yeah. And so the cool thing is that the way this works, we have 3 sections of the brain. We have the frontal area where basically all our emotions are. We have neural pathways in the middle that connect back to the lizard brain, which is where the root of all our thinking comes from. And if we build neural pathways from the back of the brain to the front of things that we have experienced, those neural pathways are built. And when they're built, we can think clearly. So if we have done things that are stressful, we build neural pathways. And because we've built those neural pathways built upon dealing with stress, no matter what stress we run into, we're better equipped for it in our own minds.
There's a lot of freedom in discomfort once you get past the discomfort.
And so that stress for anybody listening looks like exercise every day. Nobody wants to exercise every day. It sucks. Nobody wants to go lift weights and throw them down and run and jog and all that stuff. But at this point, I actually really, truly miss it. Like when I'm at an event like this and I don't get to my normal workout in because I can feel myself losing that. But find ways to stress yourself. If you are very uncomfortable talking with a group of people, then go talk to a group of people. Yeah. If you're trying to find the right words to go date somebody, you can sit there and formulate those words all day at the house sitting on the couch, or you need to get your ass you need to get up and you need to go ask that girl out. Whatever that looks like, whatever the hard thing is, go do it, because the more we do that, we're better equipped the next time we have to do something that's hard.
Right. So let's kind of take the listeners on a journey.
Yeah, sure.
Talk about young Craig and how you got the bug for the outdoors.
Okay, great question. So I spent a lot of time hunting and fishing and all those kind of things growing up as a kid. I also grew up, had the good fortune to have family farm where we would go out and play in the creeks and the woods and all that stuff. Me and my cousins. My dad had 3 brothers as I was growing up, and there was oftentimes we would all get together and do stuff outside. We all lived on Caudill Drive, which is where all my cousins and uncles and aunts were, and so we would be
back on the family estate.
Pretty much it was. It wasn't at that point, but it was where the Caudill farm was back in history, right? It was just a street with all our houses on at that point. But so that was fun, just playing outside as a kid. But the one thing that we did that was a little different than most families is that we were pretty heavily involved in what most people refer to as period correct reenacting. So the simple way of saying it, we would dress up like people from history and shoot black powder rifles and shotguns and wear moccasins and all
the living history events that you see.
Yeah, and so I grew up Yeah, I grew up. Jason's with us from Muzzleloader Magazine.
Yeah.
He's heavily into that, and that's how I grew up, and I loved it. I competed on a national level in throwing tomahawks as a kid, and so throwing knives and tomahawks.
Sometimes I feel like I participated in catching tomahawks as a kid.
So doing all that where you're, there, and I'm just going to be frank, there were times where we would go to rendezvous and be in the woods sleeping in a lean-to for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and if you didn't kill critters and eat them, you didn't eat.
Yeah.
It's not like we packed up a cooler back then. We didn't. I mean, we were killing what we were eating, and we were preparing it, and if we didn't hunt and didn't catch fish or didn't kill squirrels or whatever, I mean, back in that day, I was eating a lot of snakes.
Yeah.
Because that might be the thing that presented to us, and so we'd kill a snake and we'd eat it, and it wasn't weird. It was just what we did.
Yeah.
So that's why I've said a bunch as I grew older and went to college. I have a degree in statistics from the University of Kentucky, which is really weird, but
it's not really weird once you get to know you. Because you are very much a data-driven individual.
I am. But the college days, I got away from all of it because I was really heavily focused on my studies and to get a degree. My dad when growing up, my dad worked at IBM, and he hated it. He hated evidently every second of it, and he did not want that for me. And he thought, in his mind, the only way to not work as a laborer in a manufacturing environment was to go to college. And so he did not give me any. I was the first male in the Caudill family to get a college degree, and he didn't give me any choice. So I focused really hard on that. Got away from being in the outdoors, and as soon as I graduated, I got right back in it.
Yes. And this is about the time in your life where you really started to do a lot of those solo trips that you've done?
I did a lot of trips, but the two that kind of stand out that might be interesting to those listening is that I did 2 30-day trips in the woods by myself alone with nothing but a knife. I walked down in the woods with a knife, stayed for 30 days twice, nearly died on the second go around because I really did not know what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I did not know what I was doing. And because of that, it put me on a path to learn and do things better. And I've been trying to do that ever since. And that has taken me to different training with all kinds of different people, to learn and study. That's put me in the woods by myself again and learn even more. And as you mentioned, because of the degree in statistics, I really like data. And so because there's so much bullcrap out there on the social media and in these TV shows, I didn't feel like that was true. So I use data as my basis in nearly everything I teach.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of those journeys kind of led you to where you are now, and which you felt like was the ground for the basis of NRS, or did you need another building block to complete that puzzle?
I needed another building block, and that's a great question, Mike. So I was doing the nature training classes, and Nature Reliance School hadn't really taken a form yet. I was just doing it, and it was real informal. There wasn't a name for it, and and again, all that started around 2006. And there was a guy, a friend of mine, that was a flint napper that I had trained with, and he had taught me how to flint nap. And he was actually at a Cabela's, and a guy, that guy's a weirdo. I mean, he wears, bear claws on his chest all the time, and he's got big, whatever those O-ring things are in his ears. Gauges. He's got gauges with, claws hanging out. That's that guy. You can't miss John. And there was a guy there that was an internet marketing genius who said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing some videos?" And he's really smart with marketing, incredibly smart. He's made millions and millions of dollars. And John said, "No, but I know a guy," which was me.
Yeah.
So he got him in contact with me, and basically what I did for about 4 years was make videos for YouTube for his gear company, which was called Dan's Depot, which is now out of business.
Yeah.
But he took that business with me making videos from zero to making about $80,000 a month in about 6 months. That's how brilliant this guy was. Incredibly smart guy. But what that did is it introduced me to the marketing, the business, the industry side of what it is that we do. And not only did I see how far the business can go and where you're focused on just on business, and you lose sight of where it would be easy for me to lose sight that I'm an educator, but it also helped me go, okay, there's a line that I want to take things up to because I want to make a living doing this. And so I have to do certain things that are very business focused, but I don't want to go too far where I lose my original mission, which is to take the skills that I'm gifted with and give them to people and train people. And so he really helped me with that. And part of that was he said, Craig, you've got to write a book. If you write a book, you will go from Craig Caudill teaching stuff to Craig Caudill expert, because now you've written a book. And he was right. Because of that, I'm now written those 8 books because I just kept going with it. And I never in a million years growing up, going through college and all the things, ever thought I would write a book. And then, quite frankly, I got addicted to it. I love it. It's hard. It's very, very difficult to write a book in a different way than me going out and because I still go out with our students. It's when we teach a level 3 class and we're going in the woods now with nothing but a knife and we're sleeping out in the woods under the stars and freezing and wet and all the things, I'm there doing it with them. I'm not one of those instructors that goes to the house and lets somebody else do it. I'm still doing it because I still want to embrace that hard part of doing all that. I'm sure that at some point in time, I'm 56 years old, and my body will say, you need to stop doing that. So I'm preparing myself and my family to be able to do those things. But right now, I'm still able to do it, and I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore. And I love it. I love being outside.
And a little shout out to Jason over there who helped me with Self-Reliance Illustrated magazine. We were the ones that gave Craig his writing start. In all seriousness, it was I didn't think that I could do that. And your all's confidence in me in doing that and working with me and teach me how to write to a degree and at least how to present information that people would want to read it was something I didn't know how to do. And so, and I haven't said it directly here, but who I am is not me. It's a collective of a lot of people that have poured into me. I say often that I stand on the shoulders of a lot of giants. Talking about this internet marketer, I didn't understand that stuff at all, but he was the genius, and so I learned from him. I got in Self-Reliance Illustrated because you believed in me, and I never thought I could do that. And then I did it, and it went well. It was a good column. I love that column. And it's a collective of all the people around me that are, quite frankly, smarter and work harder than me that make me look good. Okay, so you're looking at the NRS catalog of classes. What do you feel is your strongest class to teach, and what do you feel is your weakest class?
As my skill set?
As your skill set. For you, which one are you like, I get to teach this, and oh man, I better get some research done before I go out in this
Strongest
class?
is tracking. Without a doubt. I could step up from this interview right now and teach a tracking class that would last a week and not even have to pull out any resources to do it. I love it. There's not enough time in the day to do it. There's just not as many people that do tracking that do survival or bushcraft or whatever. So I do the other things to make sure that I ensure that I have a decent living. But if I could teach tracking every day, and it's looking like I could get close to doing that. I mean, I'm getting a lot more contracts again with the law enforcement.
Soup.
With the alphabet soup. And that really helps because those pay well. So, but man, the one that, quite frankly, is probably bushcraft. Because I look at bushcraft very differently than your typical bushcrafter. I see it as a hobby. I see it as a bridge between the way I was when I was doing period correct reenacting and modern skills. I see bushcraft as a bridge for that. And so I think it's just fun to learn how to use a fro, to how you use a draw knife, to how you use your knife in different ways.
It's a practice hobby.
And I enjoy it. But I did not grow up doing that. I kind of did. I mean, we did some of those things, but if we needed a bushcraft mallet, we just picked up a stick. Now we can create this really pretty hammer. And that's cool and that's fun, and it teaches you how to use your hands. And it teaches you how to use knives, which I love bushcraft for. Because I think the more that we use a knife or a draw knife or saw or an axe or whatever, the better off we are. And bushcraft class or something like it helps us do that.
All right, so Young Craig is out playing, starting to get dusky out. What do you hear yelled from the porch to come back home? What did your mother yell when she wanted your attention
My
right
mom?
then and there?
She didn't.
She didn't?
No. So my mom and dad were pretty direct with me. And so basically I had the classic, and this is the truth.
Yeah.
When the street lights came on, I could stay for a little while longer, and then I had to come home. There, half hour more. I could play in the dark for a while. And during the summer, they would let us stay out late. But I think my mom was hoping I would get lost at times. My dad worked a lot of third shift growing up, so he wasn't around. It was pretty much me and my mom and my sister. So I'm not so sure she didn't want me to stay out there. But yeah, that was kind of like that.
All right. Now, I know you're not a man of one. You have a cadre of instructors at your school.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that and the process that goes into selecting someone to be a part of that program.
Great. So the cadre at Nature Reliance School are quite a collective of individuals. Collectively we do some really good work together. Individually, they all have their own specific skill set, and we rely heavily upon each of those guys and gals to do that specific skill set. And so that ranges anything from, for the people that see us at these Georgia Bushcraft things, like Clayton, he's the store guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to educate people on all the equipment. Clayton is one of the few guys in the cadre that listens to every single word that comes out of my mouth, and he knows the things to utilize to help educate people. And so it's not just, even though Clayton is good at selling, he's educating people as he's selling. So it's not just a sales pitch. There is no sales pitch. It's just, hey, we want to help you.
Provides the information, lets you make the decision.
100%, and he's great at it. And we got guys, Eric Comley, who's nature immersion. He was my herbaceous plants instructor. Sam Buligo, crusty Marine, that does just a little bit of, used to be a Marine, does all the things that we do. He's really good on the tactical side of things. We've got Patrick Allen, who's our cook. If anybody's got a question about Dutch ovens and how to cook over fire and all that stuff, that's Patrick. Dave Robinson is what I call my sixth man. Dave Robinson is the guy that probably doesn't feel real comfortable being in front of people. Well, he doesn't feel comfortable being in front of people, but he is the guy when I'm teaching and then everybody's out doing stuff. Yeah. Dave is down in the mud, down in the dirt, doing stuff with the people that are there. James Nahouse, game warden here in Kentucky. He has his own special skill set that he brings to the table. He was a coach at the collegiate level in volleyball, so he knows how to communicate effectively to be a good leader. Tracy Trimble was with us for a very long time. He's now left Nature Reliance School. He taught our land nav courses. He's now heavily involved in search and rescue in the state of Kentucky, both primarily as an instructor, doing a lot of the things he did at NRS for search and rescue. And so it's pretty humbling to be around all these guys that do these things that are just smarter and better than me. Yeah. I just threw out some of them, not all of them, but yeah.
But it's a pretty tough.
To get back to your question, so how do you get to wear the red hat at Nature Reliance School? Because you'll see us wearing red hats, and that comes from a military mindset where a lot of military instructors wear red hats, so they're easy to find.
Sure.
And we want to be easy to find in our courses. But one of the things that we do is we don't have an instructor program.
Yeah.
You can't pay us a few $1,000s and then become an instructor at Nature Reliance School. Basically, what we're doing, if there's anything that is, I won't even say it's required, but it is the thread that runs through everybody that's part of it at this point. You do all the basic courses, and then you do an advanced course in something. Whether you want to do the advanced course in Scout Tracker, Tactical Man Tracking, SEER, you want to do survival, whatever. Everybody that's part of the cadre has done that. And what that does is it gives us the ability to develop these relationships with people that are already committed to the mission of Nature Reliance School. They're there to just be part of Nature Reliance School and learn and study, because that's who I'm looking for.
Right.
I'm looking for people that are interested in learning and studying and bettering themselves, and because we see that, we will throw some tasks, and that's secret for the cadre, but every cadre instructor's had their own
Trial.
Q course, trial, hard thing that they've had to do to earn the hat, and that is part of it. There is no money other than coming to classes, and that's it in a nutshell. We don't have a formal program. It's more, and the reason I did that, and this is going to sound weird to a lot of people listening if you've never been in this, but one of the things that I really liked about martial arts training was this, what's called the senpai-kohai relationship, a senior student and a junior student. And one of the things that came out of that was this idea that in martial arts, the student, in Japanese martial arts, the student's called uke. He's a receiver. So if I'm throwing somebody in a judo throw or an aikido throw, or I'm doing some sort of sword practice with somebody, one person is feeding, the other person is receiving, and the person that's receiving better be paying very strict attention to what the teacher is doing, or they're going to get their face smashed in. Yeah. And if they pay very close attention, then they avoid that, and they have an answer for that. That's the people that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. Can somebody deal with them very directly and do so in such a way that they have an answer under the stress of it? That's the kind of person that I'm looking for.
All right. Now to shift gears just a little bit, I know you also have a podcast that you do periodically.
Periodically is a good word, Mike. It's not enough.
Yes.
Your
history of episodes is out there, and you have some excellent topics that you dive very deeply into. And excuse the music in the background, they're getting ready to have some type of bushcraft rave.
I'm glad I'm here.
As you dive into some of those deeper episodes, you've really struck a chord with me on some of the work you've done, both with that council that you were on and some of the experts that you've had on. But can you talk a little bit more about the podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast is probably on the bottom level of priorities.
Sure.
Only because social media has gone out of sight due to my wife's work. And so we've put a lot of energy into social media in the last year, and definitely within the last 6 months. But every time I'm around a group of people tell me that they've been binging on Nature Reliance School and listen to the podcast, which obviously gives me the reason to push that direction.
Sure.
But yeah, what we try to do is, it's been quite a hodgepodge, and I'm still trying to find the best direction for it. We've interviewed people. We do a lot of historical stuff there. I love talking about pre-Revolutionary War history. Yeah. A lot of people love those, and I don't know where we're going to land with it. Yeah. I just want people to get outside and enjoy it. I want people to be safe, and so that podcast has gone a bunch of different directions. Yeah.
And one of the really interesting episodes for me, and I know I probably shouldn't go way off on a tangent, but it just was something that I listened to the episode and I had to share it with a ton of people because it really struck a chord with me, was the one you did on water and sort of the grid down situation that water was going to provide. Can you go a little bit more into some of the stuff that you talked about on that episode?
So for those that are listening, if you get on the Nature Reliance podcast, you're getting ready to get an updated one to that goes into deeper detail. But there's been two. One was specifically on water, where I interviewed Doug Meyer, who works in a municipality in North Carolina. He did a lot of primitive skills instruction for us too. He's an incredible technologist. But one of the things that he got across was how water filtration and purification works on that level. Yeah. And how do we take that information and pass it on down to us as survivalists and bushcrafters?
On an individual level.
On a very individual level. What can you carry in a pack that works? What doesn't work? Because what we know from a lot of research and data, and that's what this latest podcast is going to do, is there's just a lot of stuff that's out there that is marketed really well.
Yes.
And some of the claims they have, they're legally right, but there's a lot of nuance there that people need to be aware that's out there. Okay. And a lot of that information is going to come from two different interviews. One is scheduled. One of our cadre, Davey Black, he's another guy I didn't mention earlier. He's a hunting master. He does all sorts of things with hunting, and he's a big part of what we do. But his sister has a PhD in something chemistry. Yeah. So we walk through the process of how the chemistry happens inside of a filter and a purifier. Okay. And how that works and there's just a lot of terms that I'll just use me as an example. I'm reading the documentation that comes with certain filters and purifiers, and it all sounds like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And when she reads it, she goes, oh, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, Craig. I'm doing that in the lab right now. And so we've got that information about how all that works.
Now, just for the sake of people, just can you briefly touch on the main difference between a filter and a purifier?
So a filter, here's a good analogy for everybody. Let's assume that you have a human hair, and a human hair has a certain size to it. Imagine that human hair is equal to the size of a soccer ball field.
Yep.
A soccer ball on that field is the same thing or equivalency of saying a bacterial contaminant on that hair. That's how small these things are. And a marble on top of that soccer ball on that soccer field, the marble being a virus.
Yeah.
So they get much, much smaller. So that's how little these things are. So a filter does an okay job most of the time in collecting sedimentation or sediment and bacterial contamination of water sources. But they don't do anything for viral contamination of water sources. So your purifiers are going to be your chemicals, whether it comes in tablet form, powder form, or drops. They're going to help neutralize, and that's a very key word here. Another word that's often used is sterilize the viral contaminants and some of the bacterial contaminants as well, so that you're going to take them into your body. This is what happened in most of our municipalities. You take those contaminants into your body, but because they're neutralized and sterilized, they don't multiply.
Right.
And because of that, we don't throw up or get diarrhea.
Yeah.
If you get those in your body and they're not sterilized, they rapidly multiply in your gut, and they've got to come out somewhere. That's going to come out your mouth, or it's going to come out your butt. So you've got to find a solution for that. And so to answer your question, to be brief, that's filtration and purification.
Okay. So, with all of your experience with instructing students, where would you say the void is in the knowledge base that students are coming to you with?
Mindset, without a doubt. And that's why I'm sure, because you're smart on this stuff too, Mike, I'm sure that's why you asked me about it earlier, but mindset is what I'm seeing is key. That is missing, is you've got to do hard things. And that's ruck, like we had a ruck challenge here today. That's hard.
Yes.
It's hard to do it. It's hard to do it in front of people, but a lot of people here did that ruck challenge because it's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Some people lift weights. Some people do hard things. Whatever that hard thing is, you've got to do more hard things, because the more we do hard things, we already know the data is there to back up that when we do hard things, that applies to everything that we do.
Yeah.
And let me say while we're here, Spin is terrible at making a fire.
Yeah, this smokeless fire pit is not very smokeless.
My voice sounds terrible. It's because I just sucked in about, I don't know.
It's getting a little chalky out here.
Thanks, Spin.
Blame it on me. I got broad shoulders.
Spin was a guest on the Campfire conversation earlier,
Oh, yeah,
and
so
that's
everybody
when we
knows
learned
Spin?
that he's really called Glenn, but no one knows that.
That's a bald lie.
So, having touched on the podcast, the school, your social media presence, where do you see the light for you down the road?
We've got something big's going to happen. It's getting close to happening anyway, and I'm not saying I know what that is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that are happening that are clicking on a really good level for us that are bigger than we've ever been. And I don't know where that's going to. I mean, one of those things happened here while we're here this weekend, and that's why I come to these things. I had a conversation with somebody that came in to buy a hat, and the next thing I know, I'm very likely going to be on national television.
Well, that's awesome.
You know, I mean, so those kind of things is we just keep trucking along, just doing what we're doing, and we feel confident that good things are going to come our way.
Okay.
And so, is there a light? Some of that we're seeing now, because Jennifer has worked so hard on social media that there's oftentimes a lot of things that I do just to do little things here and there where I can make money to pay the bills.
Yep.
And because Jennifer is directing me literally as a director on camera to make our videos so much better, she's making a ton of money now on social media. And because of that, I don't have to do all that little stuff, which which is going to do nothing other than increase the quality of what we're doing at Nature Reliance School. We might not do as much of the little stuff, but the quality of what we do is going to increase tremendously because I can communicate. I have more time to communicate with the other instructors. I have more time to plan and go through things to make those things better. And so that will do nothing more than, make it easier for me.
Okay. And before we kind of segue into the knives that you've designed, I have one more question for you.
Yeah, sure.
If you could do anything and not fail at it, what would you be doing right now?
Man, that's a great question, Mike. That's going to take some deep thought. Shoot. I don't know. That's a great question. I am in the middle of Nature Reliance School doing what I'm doing because I want to be here. Mm-hmm. But here's some things I would like to have. I would like to have my own place to do training on.
Sure.
So if I could get us that direction where I would have that comfortability of having our own property where, I know my stuff is there. I don't have to pack it up every time. It's all there. I think I would like to be in a position where I would not fail having my own property and having the school there.
Okay.
That would be a really nice thing. I would like to be able to do that.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it absolutely answers my question. So let's talk a little bit about the Cheminise, the companion, and the tactical companion.
Okay.
There's a lot of history involved in the Cheminise that I don't necessarily know that the average user sees right out of the gate in the design.
No.
So talk us through the design process. I know I was there when you originally did the knife, but I want the world to hear what went behind the Cheminise.
So, again, I grew up doing period correct reenacting, and there were some guys, a lot of people get this screwed up in history, but there were guys that were referred to as long hunters, and there were guys that were referred to as long knives. The long hunters were the guys that would go out and spend long amounts of time in a wilderness setting, hunting, either by contract or on their own. Mm-hmm. The long knives were a collective of both that and guys that knew how to go to war.
Okay.
And the guys that knew how to go to war like that, the long knives, what the Shawnee called the Cheminise. George Rogers Clark was famous for putting together a collective of Kentucky militiamen, and those guys carried what most consider long knives. Yeah. The ones that I have seen or read about were all around 15 inches long. The Cheminise that we designed at LT Wright Knives with you guys is 12 inches long, so it's even shorter than that, the typical knife back then. The thought being is that you want a knife that you can do all the things. You can chop, you can flesh, you can fight with it, you can do all the things that you need to do with it. So I wanted to design a knife because I grew up doing that stuff, and I carried knives that were that size. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved it as a tool, and it worked really well for that. And I interviewed Joe Flowers years ago, and one of the things that he enlightened me on that I thought was really cool was that when we got to the point where we had repeating firearms, our knives started getting much shorter. Mm-hmm. Because it used to be you shoot your black powder rifle one shot. Yeah. Now you're tomahawk, war club, or knifing until you get that puppy loaded again, and you better have a long knife because that's the thing that kept a distance between you and your aggressor. And so a tomahawk did really well at that. A longer knife did really well with that, and people that knew how to fight with both of them were good at that. Yeah. And so that's why those knives, there's a lot of reasons, but that's one of the reasons the knives were there. I've done martial combatives training nearly most of my life. I'm a Filipino knife fighter, so I know how to do that from a knife fighting perspective. So I wanted a knife that bridged the gap between bushcraft survival and game processing and fighting with it. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was I took some of the knives that I had hammer forged growing up, others that people had gifted me growing up, some really good makers that were period correct blades, brought them to LT Wright Knives. We sat down at the desk, me and Mikey and LT. I laid out, hey, these are the things that I have that I like, but here's some things I would like in a modern variation of that. And here's the cool thing. This is a really cool story about Mike, everybody. Listen up. So we're drawing this out, and we kind of LT already had a knife that was real similar to the Chamonix in some aspects of it, and so he pulled it out of the drawer and laid it on the table, and I went, that's my knife. It's a little short.
Yeah.
I think, what do y'all call it, the Trekker?
The Trekker.
The Trekker. So I thought, yeah, that's really close to what I want, but I want it to be a little curved. I want it to be a little bit longer. So we sketched it out and drew it, and me and LT are talking, and Mikey gets up, and next thing I know, he's come back with that sketch on a piece of wood that he had cut out, I guess, on a bandsaw.
Yeah.
And so I've got my knife in my hand, and I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was freaking giddy when you put that in my hand. I was like, that's my knife.
Yeah.
That's the one that I want. And we had no idea at that time. I wanted one.
Yeah.
I thought I could sell more, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't know, and I still struggle with knowing how to do all that. But so we made an initial run of 25, which is what was needed to make it valid to do. And the next thing I know, I've sold 25.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, bam, they're gone. And I've got my knife. I've still got that knife. I still carry that knife every time I go outside with my kit. I mean, the original knife that you all sent me. So those of you who are trying to get knives that are hard to find, there's a few knives out there that are, what's the letter you all put on them when it's the prototype? What's the stamp?
First stamp.
Yeah, so I have the Chamonix.
A PT stamp as well.
Yes, that's it. That's what I got on my Chamonix.
Yeah.
It says PT, prototype. There's not a lot of those out there. As far as the Chamonix, there's only one, and I've got it, and I will never give it up. I will never give that knife up.
Yeah.
Somebody could try to pay me $1 million for that knife, and they never get it back, because when I got that knife in my hand, I loved it.
Yes.
Here's how I do knives when I design things, is I then took that knife and I took it to every class I taught and put it in the hands of my students and the other instructors and said, what do you like, what do you don't like? Mm-hmm. So the original Chamonix has a much thinner handle on it than the one that you all make now.
Yes.
Because I don't assume that everybody likes what Craig Caudill likes.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, since we're going to sell them, I wanted to make a knife that a lot of people liked.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said, I would really like if that handle was a little bit wider.
Yep.
And so the handle that you get from us now, LT Wright Knives build and that we sell, has a little bit thicker handle on it.
Yeah, it has more of a palm swell.
Yep, more of a palm swell, yeah. So that's how I did that. The Chamonix Companion, the way it came about, which is a pretty interesting story in my opinion, but that knife, the Chamonix, the big one, the 12-inch one, got picked up by some guys in Naval Special Warfare. Mm-hmm. So they were going to an area of the world that had a very similar mixed hardwood forest like we have here. And they wanted a bushcraft fighting knife. That's what they wanted. What I designed it to be, they wanted it. And so they bought 3 of them. They took them on deployment, and they loved it. They loved the knife, but they came back and said, Craig, we love the knife. It's just too long on our kit.
Yeah.
We love how it functions and how we use it, but we're getting it hung up on stuff.
Yeah.
On our rifle slings and radios and all the things. Can you make a shorter version? And if you're going to make a new version, can you make it with a different handle that's more
glove friendly
and water friendly, because they're Navy SEALs and they're in the water a lot. And so what we did is we came up with the Chamonix Tactical Companion, which was made for those guys, literally. And that is what the Chamonix Tactical Companion is. While we were at it, we knew there were people that could benefit from having a similar length of knife, shape, except not made for Navy SEALs, and have the more traditional, smooth, micarta handle instead of the mountain finish. Sorry. And so we made.
It's not your job to know that.
Yeah, no. We made the Chamonix Bushcraft Companion as well.
Yeah.
So those 2 knives are out there. We've got a really good history of how well they've done. We've got plans to continue to make them with LT Wright Knives. I'm saying this as if you don't know, but me and Mikey and LT, we have conversations about this and how we go about making sure that we're getting the knives in the hands of people that are going to use them, that want to use them, and the people that don't want to use them want to hang them on the wall because they're pretty. We're going to make sure we do that too. Yeah. We want to please people with the knives. I want people to be happy with them, so that's how all that came about.
Now, just to recap, so if you are interested in the Chamonix, the Tactical Companion, or the Bushcraft Companion, they can pick them up from your website, or they can pick them up from River's Edge Cutlery. Correct?
Yeah, and River's Edge Cutlery, what's happening there, that's going to expand out and be even bigger. So what we're trying to do, River's Edge Cutlery has a broader audience than I do for people specifically specifically looking for knives.
Well, and they specialize in chipping and little things.
They're so good at that, man. And so we've been in discussion with them to make sure that they can get some of those knives on a more readily basis from you guys. And that way, what we want to do is we want to make sure that when people want a knife, they can get it.
Yep.
And right now, because we're a small business, it's hard for us to do that without pre-orders.
Yeah.
And we get some of the money up front so that we can get those knives. What we would like to do is, hey, you're looking for a Chamonix Tactical Companion, we got it in stock, or REC's got it in stock.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Is there anything that you feel that we haven't gone over tonight, or you need to get off your chest, or want to draw attention to?
No, you've asked really good questions, Mike.
Okay.
If there's anything at all, it would just, our mission at Nature Reliance School is to get people outside. Mm-hmm. And so I would really encourage everybody that's listening to get your knives, take them outside, get outside with your families, even if it's just simply taking a walk in a city park. Mm-hmm. We know that there's so much scientific information.
Maybe not bring your knife in the city park. But.
No, I'll take it anyway. I don't care. But I really like, and we got questions from the audience we'll get to in just a minute. Thanks, Jason. But if there's anything, I would like to get people outside. Okay. You know, I mean, that's our mission, and we probably need to define that in some way more formally so that we know what our mission statement is, but we haven't done that yet. But Jason, question.
So if someone's listening to this podcast and they want to take a class with you, they've never done any bushcraft stuff before, they've not taken any classes, what class do you recommend they sign up for first? Okay,
probably hard for you all to hear Jason because he's across the way. His question was, if somebody's new and they're trying to get into a class, what kind of class is best at Nature Reliance School to jump into? Definitely the Wilderness Safety and Survival Level 1 class. That class is basically a collective of nearly everything that we do. Yeah. There's a little bit of wilderness and remote first aid. There's a little bit in land navigation. There is some shelter building and knot tying. There's water filtration and purification, edible and medicinal plants, building gigs, and building traps. Okay. And we build into it, the instructor cadre build into it, the mindset, skills, teamwork, and gear throughout the whole class over a weekend. And then every class that we have has a test at the end of it. And we never tell people what is involved on the test, so I'm not going to say what's on the test. But not only do you come and learn, you get an opportunity to be put in a position to test yourself. Mm-hmm. And if there's one thing that Nature Reliance School instructor cadre are some of the best in the world at, that is reading our people and knowing, hey, I can push that person far. That person right there cannot be pushed far. Yeah. We don't want to push that person too far because they'll lose it. And so what we do, and you asked this earlier, we take people right up to the edge and we hold on to the back of their shirt and let them look over the edge. And as soon as it feels like they're going to fall, we pull them back. Mm-hmm. And the instructor cadre, all of them are excellent at doing that. We put a lot of effort into situational awareness, which includes reading people, reading tells, proxemics, kinesics, biometrics, all the things that go into reading people, so that we look at people and go, I mean, and you'll see the instructor cadre step off to the side and go, yeah, we need to back off on that guy. Yeah. That lady, we need to push her harder. She's not getting tested yet. Yeah. And so we have those conversations amongst ourselves. And because, and when I say that, and Jason asked a great question, you'll have people come to class that could probably teach the class just as easy as I could. Yeah. And we do. We have people that run their own schools that come to our classes all the time because they know that we're an inviting type and you're going to learn something from us. Right. And we also have people that come to class that have never in their life spent a night outside. And we'll have those in the same class, and both those people will be challenged and grow in a Nature Reliance School class. It's what we are. Quite frankly, in my opinion, and I can say this about our instructors, they are the best in the world at doing that. Yeah. They are good at it.
And on a personal level, to answer Jason's question, I would say that as a student, I learned the most from nature immersion.
Man, nature immersion is so good. Nature immersion, again, Eric Comley and I teach that class together, and Leslie Gibson teaches some of the artwork at times because she's an art professor she just retired from Alabama. I can't remember what the name of that college is, but anyway, she will do nature immersion where we look at it might be another answer to the question you asked earlier is it is a bridge that nobody I know that runs survival schools does. Yeah. So you have basically what I would refer to as master naturalist light over a weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll look at aquatic invertebrates, we'll look at plant ID, tree ID, forest ecology, all the things that are like academics type study, and then we show this is why you need to do tree ID, because you need to pick the best mallet, the wood to make a good mallet out of.
Yeah.
You don't make it out of pine, you make it out of dogwood, and this is how you determine the difference between the two.
Yeah, it was the one that really made me think outside of the box, because having been a kid that grew up in the woods and played all the time and hiked and camped and climbed and did all the things, it made me really just stop and look around and see that the environment was providing me the answers to the questions I had.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. And that's what I've done here at Georgia Bushcraft. I've had 3 classes. One's on tracking, one was on tree ID, one was on reading nature signs, and they're all the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's just opening up and expanding people's awareness of what's going on around them when they're outside.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'd like to just kind of at this point in time, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mike.
This was a great talk. I hope you guys that are listening really had a great opportunity to learn something. If you get the opportunity, jump on some of the social medias and follow Craig, follow Nature Reliance School, watch a bunch of his YouTube videos, sign up for his classes. You will not regret the money that you spend there. And I would just like to thank you very much for coming on the Campfire Conversation with me.
It's been good, Mike. It's always good talking to you.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you for listening to The Shack, and I hope to catch you on the next episode.